eating 3 meals a day is a complete lie. It's keeping you sick, inflamed and stuck. Hello everyone and welcome back to Tush Trains. In today's video we're going to be going over why you should intermittent fast and how you can do it. So without further ado, let's get straight in. So what actually is intermittent fasting? So it's basically eating within a structured time window. It's alternating between periods of eating and fasting, and it helps to align your eating with your circadian rhythm. Now this is very important. So I'm just going to go over the popular methods that one may intermittently fast. So method 1 is 16 to 8, where you're fasting for 16 hours, eating for 8 hours, and this is basically for beginners and it gives you daily structure. The next one is 18-6. So this is 18 hours where you're fasting and 6 hours where you're eating. And this is where you're trying to lean out a bit more and you're on a tight schedule. There's basically 24, which I call the warrior window, which is 20 hours of fasting and 4 hours of eating. This is basically for short-term fat loss and for experienced individuals that have done this before. The next one is OMAD, or 1 meal a day. Now this would be 23 hours where you fast and only 1 hour where you eat. This is basically the most simple it gets, and it causes low hunger eventually. There is also some other ones like 5-2, where you do 5 normal days and 2 extremely low calorie days like 500 calories or something like that. And this basically gives you a weekly reset. So if you've literally scrammed too much in a day or scrammed too much in 5 days, then you can use this for the next 2 days just to reset everything. There is also alternate day fasting. This is 1 day where you eat and 1 day where you fast, and you do that on and off for the entire week. And this causes metabolic healing. The next one, which I'm quite fond of, is water fasting. This is anywhere from 24 to 72 hours plus. As it says, you're just literally fasting, only drinking water. So this gives you a rapid reset, and this is only for experienced individuals. So if you haven't done this before, don't just jump into straight water fasting, you're gonna crash. Just try to build it up to a specific degree, and then you can try this stuff later on. Now I wanna show you guys my personal method on how I use intermittent fasting. I use it for 2 main methods, and I'm going to be really honest here. I use it for my 6-pack, so I always continue to have a 6-pack throughout the whole year, and inflammation control because I have alopecia and I tend to lose my hair. Now this is a very flexible strategy and it works for me very effectively. What I do is I water fast for 1 to 2 days if I'm feeling inflamed or gaining too much fat. I also have days where I only eat from 1 to 6 p.m. because that would be my eating window, and this would be used on cutting and cleaning up days. So on full training days, I do have to eat a lot and I do have to fuel my training. So this is where I'd have breakfast, lunch and dinner. So if I'm doing a swim, cycle, run, then I'm going to need to have all of that food because it's going to fuel my training. Now there is a good rule, and us as Indians, we usually have our mums telling us that we can't eat after 6 p.m. This is because it aids in digestion if you don't, and it helps with your circadian alignment. No food after dark for digestion and circadian alignment. Now you're questioning, what do you eat whilst intermittent fasting? I give the same answer for everything. So if you don't know this by now, watch all of my videos. They'll literally say the exact same thing, which is whole foods and AIP foods, meaning autoimmune protocol foods. The autoimmune protocol is literally to find out your food triggers, what you're allergic to, and how your body tolerates specific foods. So if you found that out prior to doing this, then you'll be able to find out what works for you. So I recommend doing that first. Anyhow, now if you're wondering what to have whilst intermittent fasting, then animal protein is your best bet. Now this would be because it's the most bioavailable form of protein, and I would have grass-fed beef, pasture-raised eggs and wild-caught fish. For healthy fats, I would try to include olive oil, ghee, avocado, omega-3s. For root veg and greens, I would have sweet potato, squash, spinach and kale. Fermented foods are absolutely critical. They are critical for providing your gut with probiotic bacteria, and you also have to have prebiotic food to feed those. So fermented foods, I would have sauerkraut, kimchi and kefir. Those are literally the best. Now if you look through all of my social media channels, you'll find out that these are not the only fermented foods you can have, and I do give free recipes on every single one. Now at all costs, you want to literally avoid seed oils, processed sugars, gluten and dairy if you're sensitive to it, because many individuals don't actually find out what they are allergic to, what they have an intolerance to. So that brings me on to number 5, the health benefits that I experience personally. Why I live by it. I live by it because it's fat loss without muscle loss. Now this is critical. I do want to actually retain the strength. I want to retain my muscle. I want to retain my strength. And the best way to do that is intermittent fasting. It really does help with my sleep. It helps with my digestion. It helps with my mental clarity, and it gives me better focus. In my family history, we have a history of heart disease and diabetes. Now I can completely reverse that logic, and by committing to this diet or committing to this intermittent fasting, I won't be having any trouble in these regions. It causes improved insulin sensitivity and metabolic flexibility. So if you do this intermittent fasting, what this does is it gives you structure. And structure equals discipline. And what does discipline equals? Freedom. Now, you don't think so, but if you are actually disciplined enough, then it grants you freedom. And trust me when I say that. And the final thing which it really helped me with is reduce inflammation and autoimmune triggers, so I wouldn't be having flare-ups of alopecia that often. Now let's go on to what I said in the beginning. The 3 meals a day is a complete lie. Now, why do I think this? This is because our ancestors literally used to eat food when they found it or they foraged it. You would be starving the entire time before you actually found that food, and our bodies are adjusted to deal with that. We're adjusted to hunt and to fast, not to graze all day. That's what some animals do, and we are not animals, so bear that in mind. When you give your body digestive rest by fasting, this equals to hormonal healing. So you give your body a break from all the stresses and all the triggers. Now, if you want to get started with intermittent fasting, one thing that I will tell you to do is to start with a 12-12 schedule. This means you fast for 12 hours and you eat for 12 hours. But don't get carried away. Or you could do the 14-hour fast and the 10-hour eating window. Either one. You're going to want to drink some black coffee, green tea, or salt with water while you're fasting. When you actually break your fast, you actually want to break your fast with protein and with fat. And do not break your fast using sugars too, because that would be absolutely terrible, and we don't want to do that. You want to incorporate feast days, and you want to incorporate rest days, and you want to pair fasting with cold showers, walking, and resistance training. Now, if you've heard from my other videos that I'm doing a 70.3 triathlon, I will be doing my triathlon for charity. So I'm raising funds for cats protection. This is because I strongly believe in what they do, and I love and care about animals. So I have one of my own animals here, and this is Lily. She's absolutely wonderful. She's very feisty too, but she is literally the best. Aren't you, baby? I love her to pieces. So if you could donate to my fundraiser, I would highly appreciate that. Well, thank you for coming to my talk, and I'll see you on the next one.